In this video, we'll break down the three fantastic games on the Thanksgiving slate for daily fantasy football, and we'll prepare a whole bunch of lineups. We'll do cash lineups, we'll do GPP, we'll do it on FanDuel, and we'll do it on DraftKings, and we'll do it all coming up next. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Lee with the Fantasy Football Consultants with a very special show. We're up to week 13, and we're going to do a Thanksgiving slate for you. So, bonus coverage. Later this week, I will be back to give you the main slate for week 13, and Michael Wiley and Aaron Dean are teaming up to do your NFL Survivor coverage this week. So, one note, the good news is we got lots of coverage for you this week. The bad news is both Michael Wiley and I are traveling next week. So, we're going to take 1 week off, but don't worry, we will be back the following week with more Survivor and NFL DFS coverage. And I want to take this moment to thank all of our people in our community. You guys, it has been such a pleasure doing shows with this group, and it makes me feel great that people look forward each week to our content. And at the bottom of my heart, and I think I speak for Michael Wiley as well, thank you for being members of this community. And we wish everyone a safe and happy Thanksgiving with your family and friends. And since you want to be a part of the FFC family, if you haven't yet, please smash that subscribe button. We're getting very close to 12,000 subscribers, and I would mean a ton to me if you are someone who's watched our show or first time watching and you appreciate what we're doing. Please join us by hitting that free red subscribe button. All right, let's get into it. We'll talk cover boy, and for the second week in a row, we got to go back to Jahmyr Gibbs. He was awesome for us last week, thanks to a ridiculously long overtime run. Jahmyr Gibbs is just something special. He has that ability to break off long runs, whether he's catching passes or taking the handoff. And full PPR on DraftKings, he is deadly. So we got to get him back in our lineup. And spoiler alert, he's in every lineup that we have this week, both for cash and GBP, both for DraftKings and FanDuel. And I think he's in a tremendous matchup. You know, all of these games in the Thanksgiving slate are great. You know, 49.5 points is the lowest of the three scoring games is an over-under. That's this game here. The other two games are great as well, 51 and a half. Gibbs, home favorite. You know, there are so many reasons why to like him, and we got him in our lineup. So what are we going to do? Remember, we only have 3 games. So how are we going to put this lineup together? Let's go through it. This is our cash lineup on DraftKings. We will pair Gibbs with Derrick Henry. Look, folks, I'm a Derrick Henry owner. I know what's going on with this guy. He really was suffering when Lamar Jackson went out. Teams knew that they couldn't effectively pass, and they didn't have to worry about another runner, as in Lamar Jackson, the quarterback, taking off. Now Henry is getting more lanes to run, and you see his stats are reflecting that. Derrick Henry may be old, but he's always been a guy who seems to just get stronger and stronger as the season goes along. I call him old for a running back. Okay, so Derrick Henry, by the way, he's got a tremendous matchup facing the Cincinnati Bengal defense, which is dead last against running backs. All right, so we went all powerful at running back with Gibbs and Henry, and we're really stacking it up here by throwing Jamar Chase in this lineup. So 2 big factors happened here, which is affecting our lineup. 1, T. Higgins is out. And 2, I expect Joe Burrow, who practiced Tuesday, that he is going to be a go to play on Thanksgiving. That's just great news for everybody else in this passing offense, and certainly that includes Jamar Chase, who should be very fresh coming off not a bye last week, his own personal bye, because he was suspended, didn't play last week, so he should be ready to go this week and excited to play. In addition to Chase, we've got Yosevus. And what a bargain he is at 4,300. As I already said, T. Higgins is not playing, so Yosevus is going to be wide receiver number 2 with Burrow back there. One of my favorite picks this week is to have him in our lineup. Christian Watson, starter from Green Bay, at a very reasonable price of $4,700. And let's talk about our Kansas City connection. Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce. You simply don't get better matchups than facing the Dallas defense if you're going to be throwing the ball. They're dead last against quarterbacks. They are dead last against wide receivers. And I don't think they do very well against tight ends. Somehow, maybe because of the quality of tight ends that they face, they're only middle of the road. Kansas City needs to win this game, folks. This is their playoff lives in stake. I think they're going to come out big. They are favored by 3 points, and I think they win this game. And I think Mahomes has got to have a big game, and I think Kelce seems to step up when in games that the Chiefs really need him. I will say Xavier Worthy is likely to play and come back, so Kansas City's got a full arsenal of weapons. $5,000, a reasonable price. Now, to get all these studs in the lineup, Pat Mahomes, Gibbs, Henry, Chase, we had to go bargain basement for Isaiah Likely. Now, I am the first to admit that it is likely that Isaiah is going to suck, right? If you look at his production over the last 3 games, 2 points, 3.5, 3.7. I mean, that's really bad, folks, right? But I have 2 things to say in response to that. One is he's got the dream matchup, right? He's at home. He's a favorite, solid, like 7-point favorite. And he's facing the Bengals defense, which overall is bad, and they're particularly bad against tight ends, dead last. This lineup features a lot of people who are dead last as far as oppositions. So we've got Likely in our lineup. And the other thing I like, unbelievable bargain. I mean, they're just giving him away. They're begging you to put him in the lineup at only $2,600. And he's the reason that we're able to fill the rest of these stars in our lineup and even have money not to go bargain basement at defense, right? In this high-scoring affair, I'd rather not have the Bengals or Cowboys. So I'm glad that we could afford the Kansas City Chiefs, who are favored, who faces a Dallas team that is going to throw the ball, and that Dak Prescott at times is prone to mistakes. All right, that's our cash lineup for DraftKings. Let's turn our attention to FanDuel and see what we can do on that platform. All right, everybody, this is on FanDuel, and we're utilizing a lot of the same players that we did on DraftKings, but one change is at our second running back spot. We're going to swap out Derrick Henry and actually save some money here and get Chase Brown in our lineup at only $7,200. I think he, like almost every offensive bingo, will benefit from Joe Burrow in the lineup. And as you see, he does get involved in the passing game and also can be a workhorse with carrying the ball. So we've got him at $7,200. We're keeping Gibbs, so that is quite a combination. Also keeping Yosevus. But the one addition we have here at wide receiver, and it's a powerhouse, Rashee Rice. So we've got the number 1 wide receiver on Kansas City, and we're going to put the number 1 wide receiver on Baltimore in Zay Flowers. Again, picking on this Cincinnati defense here on Thanksgiving. So more good news for Pat Mahomes. Xavier Worthy is back. He did practice on Tuesday, so it looks like he's going to be good to go on Thanksgiving. So that's just another weapon. You tend to think anything that Pat Mahomes does in the passing game, we're likely to see the beneficiary of it by Rice and Worthy. I do know there's a guy named Travis Kelce out there, but we got a lot of that production. And again, we're facing the Dallas Cowboy defense, which I'm happy to load up against the Dallas Cowboy defense. And then finally, we didn't go bargain basement on defense. We've got the Green Bay Packers, who actually, behind Michael Parsons, they have a solid defense. All these games are going to be high scoring, but I really like Green Bay a ton more than some of the defenses here that were at the bottom. I did not mention Mike Gesicki, who's new to our lineup. You might go, wait a minute, let me look at what his production has been. Why do we have him in our lineup? Because his production has been thin. Well, a couple reasons. One, T. Higgins is out. Two, Joe Burrow is back. And then finally, three, Gesicki is the leader in this team among the tight ends. I mean, they have a bunch of tight ends, but this is the guy who's most likely to catch passes. All those things combined with a ridiculously low salary of $4,000 on FanDuel really opens us up in order to put the rest of these guys in our lineup. All right, folks. So this has been fun, but as a special Thanksgiving treat, I know some of you miss having us not do GPP lineups. So we're going to prepare a GPP lineup. Just to be clear, cash lineup, we want a high floor. So we're not concerned about correlation. We don't even mind having a negative correlation, i.e. a quarterback going against the defense. But we're going to do a GPP lineup where the payment occurs way at the top, highly weighted at the top. What does that mean? We want correlation. We want, if one guy goes off, we want to make it more likely that we benefit. So as I mentioned, we want to have correlation in our lineup. And all three games have high over-unders, so you really can stack any of the games. My guess is most people are going to stack the Dallas-Kansas City game. So I'm going to go a little contrarian and go Cincinnati and Baltimore, which has the same over-under. And most importantly, as far as Cincinnati is concerned, I think the decision tree is more compact. In other words, if Joe Burrow has a great game, I have a pretty good idea who's going to also likely have a very good game. So Joe Burrow is also at a reasonable price at only $6,000. And let me stack away with Joe Burrow. I am going to have Jamar Chase, his superstar wide receiver, who absolutely has the ability to completely go off. I'll get Josephus, his wide receiver number 2. Remember, T. Higgins is out. And let's get Mike Gesicki, his number 1 passing tight end. And I got to run it back because if all these guys are going to do really well, that means Baltimore needs to be putting up some points as well. So I'm going to run it back with the number 1 wide receiver on Baltimore, Zay Flowers. Now I'm looking for a high ceiling, and I think we know there's probably nobody that has a higher ceiling, at least on the Thanksgiving slate, than Jahmyr Gibbs. So let's get Jahmyr Gibbs in our lineup. And then here's a guy we haven't talked about. Because what I usually like to do is a secondary stack. So we're going to attack Dallas on one end with their running back, Javonte Williams, and running that back with the newly healthy Xavier Worthy. So with Javonte Williams, we're getting their clear bell cow back. He's gotten 20 or more carries in the last couple of weeks. I think they will lean on him once again. And then running that back with Xavier Worthy. And once again, I'm known on this channel for punting a defense, but I'm happy that I don't have to. I've got the Kansas City Chiefs, enough money to afford the Kansas City Chiefs defense against the Dallas Cowboys. I get a team in Kansas City that's favored, and I feel good about going up against Dak Prescott, who likes to take chances in the air. All right, folks, that is our GPP lineup, and that is our Thanksgiving special. I hope everybody enjoyed it. We want to hear from you, though. Please go into the comment section and tell us who you like in the on the Thanksgiving slate. Who are your favorite players? And also, do me a favor and just say a quick Happy Thanksgiving and maybe throw out there what you're thankful for, which I hope is being a part of the FFC community, because I'm thankful for all of you. All right, everybody, have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Until next time, take care, everybody.